Greetings, fellow cultivators. Welcome to Audio Nova. Remember to like and subscribe to support the journey. Today, we're diving into the story of what's the point of cultivating immortality if you don't have money. Scorching air flowed through Li Zhao's throat, causing slight stinging sensations in his lungs. Feeling the high temperature all around, Li Zhao had no choice but to circulate the mana within his body, temporarily converting it into ice mana to continuously cool himself down. He continued to walk through this dangerous factory area, constantly clearing ruins, transporting materials, building temporary fortifications, sealing leaks of toxic substances, and assisting in the repair of spiritual energy, pathways, and formations. Although Li Zhao was extremely careful, an accidental explosion still left large area, burns, on his body. And constantly breathing in the toxic substances remaining in the air also caused his internal organs to ache faintly, and his limbs gradually felt slightly numb. Despite this, although the work in front of him was dangerous and arduous, the thought of 5 times the salary made Li Zhao feel a surge of motivation in his originally exhausted body. After I finish this period, next time Ling Xin and the others ask me to cultivate together, I won't have to refuse. I won't have to worry about this month's loan interest either. Just as Li Zhao was speeding up to transport a batch of spirit-guiding materials, he suddenly smelled a strange fragrance. In the next moment, Li Zhao only felt a whirl of dizziness, staggered, and then fell to the ground with a thud. He struggled to get up, but found that his usually strong limbs were now weak and limp, and after a burst of twisting, he still fell to the ground. At the same time, the sweet smell in the air became stronger and stronger, making his consciousness more and more blurred. Not good. It's a toxic leak. Li Zhao bit the tip of his tongue fiercely, trying to make himself a little more awake, but the toxin came fiercely and quickly, making him feel the strength in his body rapidly draining away, and gradually he could no longer feel the muscle strength in his hands and feet. No, if this continues, the poisoning will get worse and worse. A trace of fear appeared in Li Zhao's eyes, struggling to widen his eyes, resisting the increasingly heavy drowsiness in his mind. He was really afraid that once he opened and closed his eyes, he would reappear in the depths of the spirit realm when he woke up. Then he would find that in order to pay for the medical expenses to treat his physical injuries, his body had been mortgaged, and his soul was waiting to be assigned a job to repay the debt. Damn legs. Stand up for me. At this moment, a trace of regret gradually surged in Li Zhao's heart. If I had known, I wouldn't have taken such a risk. What if I earn a little less and spend a little less? Just as Li Zhao was afraid and regretful, a pair of big hands grabbed his neck and lifted him up, like a kitten. Then, the sound of breaking through the air rang out, and the scene in front of Li Zhao changed for a while. When he came back to his senses, he found that he and several other workers had been thrown onto the open space at the entrance of the factory area with a bang. Breathing the normal air outside, Li Zhao felt a burst of relief in his heart, looked up at Xiong Yu's departing back, and his eyes became complicated. Ling Xin, who was on the side, thought to herself when she saw this scene, rushing in to make money at the risk of bankruptcy and still have time to save people? She shook her head, too lazy to look at the situation here, lifted her leg and left. At this moment, several security guards came over and said to Li Zhao and the others, please cooperate. We need to check to avoid you accidentally bringing out dangerous substances from the factory. Li Zhao knew that this was to prevent them from secretly taking things out of the factory. At this moment, several packages of raw materials for medicines were found on a worker. The security guard said, Captain, the person who stole 2 tons of materials has been found. The worker was shocked and said, I only stole these 2 packages of things. I didn't steal as much as 2 tons. On the other side, Xiong Yu had already re-entered the rolling, smoke, and dust. Xiong Yu's physical body had already been tempered and refined, possessing strength far exceeding that of the same level. And with the blessing of the earth with Saint body, his physical body had a terrifying protective power against the various dangers in the factory area at this moment. The scorching high temperature swept over his skin like a warm breeze. The toxic and harmful substances in the air poured into his mouth and nose, bringing a refreshing and sweet fragrance. As for the accidental explosions, the fragments flying out with the explosions, and the rolling toxic smoke at this moment, it was difficult to hurt Xiong Yu. Even if it caused damage to his body sometimes, it would be activated by his residual ox sacrifice heart art, accelerating the self-healing of the injury. Returning to the position where Li Zhao had just fallen, Zhang Yu thought to himself, now there is no one at the scene. He found the place where the toxic substance had just leaked and collected the surrounding alloy fragments that looked unwanted. Wiping the saliva from the corner of his mouth, Zhang Yu really wanted to swallow these alloys now, but he didn't do so. After all, the current environment was relatively dangerous and he still needed the Earthwood Saint body to ensure safety. And if he didn't switch to the University Saint body, without the super digestive power and the blessing of the cultivation method effects brought by the University Saint body, both the efficiency and effect of eating would be greatly reduced. So he planned to collect it first, and before leaving the factory area after get off work, find a safer location, and then switch to the University Saint body to taste it. So at this moment, Zhang Yu temporarily put the alloy fragments into his arms, and then looked at the wild polymer materials belonging to the pharmaceutical factory workshop in another ruin. So in the following time, Zhang Yu was working while casually collecting some unwanted wild ingredients in the factory area. Zhang Yu felt that he was now like a country bumpkin who came to eat a seafood buffet for the first time. The biggest problem was that when facing the dazzling array of dishes, he didn't know which one was more valuable and which one was more nourishing, so he could only take a little of each and try them all when the time came. And in addition to the materials all over the ground that no one wanted, what made Zhang Yu the most envious was the various raw materials of the pharmaceutical factory. But without activating the university sacred body, he didn't plan to eat randomly. He would collect them first and, after switching to the university sacred body, savor them one by one with his powerful medicinal consumption ability. Factory gate. Li Zhao felt that he had recovered a lot. At least his limbs were no longer numb, his head was no longer dizzy, and the burning pain on his body became extremely clear. While Li Zhao was resting, he watched Zhang Yu carry the injured workers out of the factory area several times and drop them on the surrounding ground. This made Li Zhao's gaze towards Zhang Yu become more and more complicated. In his opinion, wasting one's working time to help others was absolutely stupid. Hiss. Feeling the increasingly painful burns on his body, Li Zhao knew that if he didn't heal the injury, his future studies and cultivation would be affected. Fortunately, the Spirit World Network was still connected outside the factory area. With a thought, he had already called for remote medical service. After a while, a doctor's figure appeared in his eye socket and gave him an examination. 5 minutes later, a medical student had arrived beside Li Zhao. With a few bursts of mana, a few silver needles fell, and finally, a potion was poured down. Li Zhao felt much better. The most new small say in 6-9 book bar first hair. But a few minutes later, when he saw the medical bill appearing in his eye socket, he felt injured again. 0.78 spirit coins. How can it be so expensive? Although some of it was reimbursed by medical insurance, Li Zhao knew that this would still be a huge burden for him, and his medical insurance for next year would definitely skyrocket. Before he could calm down, he found that his medical insurance application was not approved. Why don't they reimburse me? Just as Li Zhao was arguing with the medical insurance company, today's payment reminder arrived again. The interest on this month's loan had been overdue for 3 days. Li Zhao hesitated for a moment, and still found his uncle. Uncle, send me your credit information and spending list first. Uncle, 30 spirit coins. You spent so much in only 5 months? Li Zhao classmates invited me to cultivate, I can't not go. Otherwise how can I keep up with my grades? Li Zhao also, betterite sockets are necessary, otherwise learning efficiency will not keep up. Looking at his uncle who no longer replied to his messages, Li Zhao sighed deeply. At this moment, Li sent a notice announcing that the rescue and repair work of the pharmaceutical factory would increase again, increasing to 8 times the salary. Looking at the billowing smoke not far away, Li Zhao gritted his teeth. I'll give it a try. As long as I earn this money, as long as I have this 8 times salary, as long as I'm more careful, I will definitely survive. Thinking of the various immortal services and products he enjoyed with Yingxin and the others, thinking of the eye socket he sold, thinking of his current ranking, Li Zhao couldn't accept these things leaving him. He deeply understood that in Kongshu, you can have nothing, but you can't be without money. So he stood up again and rushed into the billowing smoke. Not only Li Zhao, but with the increase in wages, some of the workers who had already withdrawn, been injured, and left, gradually began to return and rush into the smoky factory area again. Inside the factory area, Looking at the increasing number of workers around him, Xiong Yu frowned slightly, thinking that with so many people, it was not convenient for him to pick up things. Especially a bunch of key refining guys. How much is a few times the salary? Is it worth it to work so hard? Xiong Yu shook his head. Fortunately, the poisonous smoke was his best cover, allowing him to continue his actions. Because he was collecting more and more things, Xiong Yu simply hid the things in several deeper ruins, and then he found that the things in one of them had been picked up. Damn it, I knew I wasn't the only one picking up things. Before getting off work, Xiong Yu took out the remaining things and came to a relatively safe location. After confirming that there were no cameras nearby with a detection ritual, Xiong Yu opened Yushu, turned to the chapter on chain method diagram, dragged a series of exercises, and switched the Earthwood Sacred Body to the University Sacred Body. Unlike the skill specialization, which requires a one-day cooldown to switch, the chain method diagram can be switched at any time, but it only takes a few seconds. Then he grabbed a few pieces of metal and swallowed them into his stomach. The digestive power of the Foundation Establishment Peak was suddenly activated, and with the blessing of the earth-eating divine art, the alloys were crushed into powder one by one, and refined into Xiong Yu's bones. Xiong Yu thought, well, this alloy is so hard, it should be used to strengthen bones. This polymer material has both flexibility and strength. Can it be used to refine into the skin? What is this gelatinous substance? Alas, I don't have enough knowledge, I have to go back and check. So Xiong Yu ate while recording the characteristics, appearance, and taste of various materials. Wild ones are a bit more fragrant. Xiong Yu quickly discovered that not everything could be digested by him. At least there were 3 kinds of materials that looked very extraordinary. Even with his digestive power, and the level 20 earth-eating divine art, he couldn't digest them, and in the end, he could only spit them out again. With this experience, Xiong Yu became more cautious about the raw materials leaked from the pharmaceutical factory. He was afraid of eating something that he couldn't handle. Xiong Yu thought to himself, I have to ask my sister to identify what these things are. Xiong Yu increasingly felt the importance of knowledge and information. Otherwise, if he entered a buffet restaurant, he wouldn't even know which ones were good things. When Xiong Yu returned to the dormitory and shared his thoughts, Zhang Pianpian told him to wait a moment before sending him a file. Xiong Yu asked curiously, what is this? Zhang Pianpian said, the pharmaceutical factory that exploded this time is a pharmaceutical factory under the Mingxin Group. The Mingxin Group, theoretically, is a company affiliated with the Danding sect, one of the 10 great sects. Its main task on the second level is to manufacture medicines and sell them to those above. The thing I sent you is a list of the pharmaceutical factory's equipment, building materials, and decoration materials. Also, the raw material procurement list for this pharmaceutical factory. Jiang Pianpian said, but just having the names isn't enough, you have to be able to recognize the things yourself. Xiong Yu glanced at the material list and felt that, with the help of civil engineering textbooks, he should be able to recognize about 70 or 80% of them. But these pharmaceutical raw materials. Xiong Yu suddenly thought of Lemulin. So, when school ended that day, Xiong Yu began consulting Lemulin, asking her to help check the properties of some raw materials and how to identify them. After all, Lemulin was a pharmacology student. Relying on her knowledge framework and the textbooks in the Great Library, she gradually helped Xiong Yu complete the identification of most of the raw materials. So, in the following days, Xiong Yu spent his time, besides working, picking, identifying, and eating. To have more time to do these things, he even asked the department for leave. And the civil engineering department approved Xiong Yu's leave very quickly. After all, what's wrong with a student wanting to skip class to earn more money? Moreover, it was a project of the civil engineering department itself. Inside the factory area. Found food again. Xiong Yu picked up a few pieces of metal fragments, swallowed them in one gulp, and thought, third-grade spiritual alloy, used to make valves in high-temperature and high-pressure environments. Just right to strengthen my bones. As the earth-eating divine art circulated, Xiong Yu felt a subtle heaviness in his hand bones, with slight changes in density and weight. A moment later, Xiong Yu grabbed a large handful of black fragments and swallowed them. High molecular polymer, used to make buffer components in high wear environments, just right to strengthen my joints. Erosion sky marrow, a biological material refined from worms, resistant to acid, alkali, and high temperatures, strong in toughness and impact resistance, originally used as a key material for drug filtration, now refine it into mycelium. Because the entire factory area's repair work would last for a maximum of 15 days, and considering that the restoration of network connectivity and monitoring might be even earlier, Xiong Yu had a clear arrangement for his eating plan. Instead of eating all kinds of things randomly, strengthening a little here and a little there, it's better to focus on collecting a few materials and prioritize increasing bone strength. After determining the focus of his eating, Xiong Yu was like a customer who rushed into a seafood buffet and focused on eating a single category like crazy. With wave after wave of eating, he felt his bones becoming more and more resilient, more and more solid, and his body becoming heavier than before. And besides the materials, medicines and pharmaceutical raw materials, Xiong Yu didn't give up either. Especially after hearing Zhang Pianpian say that the medicines produced by this pharmaceutical factory were all to be sold to people above, he became even more interested. This is an extract of wuxia feilan. Long-term use can improve hearing and vision. This is the essence of zibai wenji, which can enhance the fire element in mana. This is jingzisu, an extract of jingzuqiao, used to increase the body's sensitivity. After identifying and trying more and more raw materials, Xiong Yu felt disappointed. After all, it's a mass-produced pharmaceutical factory. Just eating these raw materials, I'm afraid it will waste my time if I eat too much. So Xiong Yu finally turned his attention to the leaking drug, semi-finished products. It wasn't that he didn't want to pick up finished products, it was just that the finished products had already been picked up by the pharmaceutical factory itself during the first wave of disaster relief. The biggest problem with semi-finished products was the uncertainty whether they had any effect. What effect they had was difficult to say before eating them. But fortunately, with the drug list given by Zhang Pianpian and the help of Lemulin, Xiong Yu could be sure that the things produced by this pharmaceutical factory should not exceed his tolerance under the University Saint Physique. So Xiong Yu could only try them one by one, feeling like he was drawing a lottery every day. There was a kind of black, pasty substance. After Xiong Yu ate it, he gradually felt a commotion in the spiritual roots and his qi. His spiritual root fusion degree actually had a faint increase. There was also a kind of yellow medicinal powder. After Xiong Yu ate it, he felt an itching all over his skin, and actually grew a few scales, which scared him so much that he quickly stopped and removed the scales. There were also some semi-finished products that, after he ate them, made him feel refreshed in his sea of consciousness, and the operating effect of his mental cultivation method improved. There were also some semi-finished products that actually stretched his muscles and bones, and his body size expanded by a circle, his normal height rising to 2.05 meters, and he had to actively shrink his body. In short, these semi-finished products had different shapes and effects, and Xiong Yu couldn't distinguish them, so he could only eat them casually, try them casually, and feel his body being strengthened from time to time. But the most impressive thing for him was a golden pill he picked up, which was also the only finished pill he picked up during the entire pharmaceutical factory's repair project. When Xiong Yu swallowed this golden pill, he felt full of energy all over his body, with an unspeakable vitality and vigor. It wasn't until later, after Zhang Pianpian and Lemulin identified it, that he knew it was a longevity pill, which would increase his lifespan by about 1 year the moment he swallowed it. Longevity pill? After Xiong Yu knew, he felt extremely strange in his heart. There is no longevity pill in the list of medicines produced by this pharmaceutical factory, right? In response, Zhang Pianpian didn't answer him in detail as usual, but said lightly, longevity is a very special resource, of great importance. Don't ask too much, don't interfere too much, don't think too much now. Xiong Yu could only suppress the doubts in his heart, secretly wondering if the attack on the pharmaceutical factory was related to this life-extending drug. In the blink of an eye, 15 days passed. With the improvement of the network, the repair of the formation, the restoration of monitoring, Xiong Yu gradually found no more opportunities to freeload in the last few days. Xiong looked at Xiong Yu, who had returned to the dormitory, and couldn't help but ask, "You work so hard every day, how do you feel like you've gained weight?" Xiong Yu said lightly, "Overworked and fat." Xiong couldn't help but ask again, "You seem to be taller too." Xiong Yu said casually, "My cultivation technique is good, I'm going through a second growth spurt." In recent days, relying on a large amount of food, Zhang Yu's strength has improved by leaps and bounds. In particular, his bones have been refined with various high-strength materials, greatly improving all aspects of performance, and the strength has far exceeded that of half a month ago. Zhang Yu thought in his heart, with my current high-density, high-strength bones, coupled with the earthwood holy body, the resistance will be amazing. The latest novels are first published on 69shu.com. In particular, this kind of bone strengthening will not change with Zhang Yu's switching of chain method suit, and can be matched with his earthwood holy body, university holy body, martial Dao holy embryo, and other suits. The comprehensive strengthening of the bones has also led to the continuous improvement of Zhang Yu's physical strength, which has now reached level 12.31. The spiritual root fusion degree has also broken through after taking multiple semi-finished drugs, and has currently reached 90%. The normal body size has reached to 0.08 meters, and the weight is also continuously increasing with the changes in height and bones, further enhancing his physical explosive power. In addition to this, the basic data has also been improved, the Dao heart has reached level 12, and the mana has broken through to 401.1. Zhang Yu felt that with this wave, various materials, medicines, if he had to pay for them himself, it would probably cost at least 20 or 30 spirit coins. At this moment, he only had one sigh in his heart. Unfortunately, I can't take it out. Forget it, who takes out when eating buffet? I just don't know if my current level is enough to be in the top 3 in the class ranking. After class tomorrow, I'll update the data and see the situation after the ranking update. Since taking leave, Zhang Yu has been running to the construction site every day, and hasn't gone to class for half a month, relying entirely on Yu Xing'an's notes to make up for the course content. Just then, accompanied by the opening of the dormitory door, Lemulin walked in. Zhang Yu quickly said, "Come, I'll bleed a little more for you. Your foundation establishment exam is in a few days, right?" Although he has been focusing on work, eating and drinking these days, Zhang Yu has not forgotten to bleed a little for Lemulin to take. Especially since he has been eating so well these days, the effect of the blood has become much stronger, allowing Lemulin to also enjoy a wave of benefits. Yu Xing'an on the side said, "Bro, give me some too." Just as Zhang Yu was bleeding, notifications appeared in his eye socket. A theft of supplies occurred in the Beta area of Mingshan Pharmaceutical Factory, with more than 300 tons of supplies lost. After investigation by the security team, it was found that workers Jiang Hixin, Zhang Huayan, and other than a dozen people are suspected. After questioning, the suspects confessed to the matter. Zhang Yu looked at this notification and thought, 300 tons? They dare to take that much? No, how did they take it? Is it really these dozen workers who took it? Just then, another notification appeared. Employee Zhang Yu, in this repair project, dared to fight hard, and took the lead, completing the cleaning of 1,200 tons of garbage alone, and was selected as a model worker. A special announcement is issued to encourage him. Zhang Yu thought that he cleaned up the garbage while picking up things, transporting it out again and again. He didn't realize that he had transported so much. At the same time, the wages for the past 15 days have also been credited, allowing Zhang Yu's balance to skyrocket to 12.51 spirit coins. Just as Zhang Yu was looking at the number of spirit coins and was surging with excitement, a message from Talishan also came. "Zhang Yu, your performance this time is very good. Director Gao is very optimistic about you. There is a field project next month. The department plans to select a group of outstanding students from each grade to cultivate. Are you interested?" After seeing Zhang Yu being selected as a model worker, Yingxin felt a burst of unease. Next, through some channels, after confirming that Zhang Yu had replaced her, and obtained the opportunity to participate in the field project, she felt even more resentful. Why? Gongshu being selected is a certainty, so be it. Why can this Zhang Yu replace me? When she expressed her doubts to Talishan responded with a smile. Director Gao wants to select some earthwood seeds this time, who have good talent, strong strength, can endure hardship, and are willing to work hard for money. Student Ying, you are still a little lacking in this regard. Talishan thought to himself, only a 6th-generation earthwood person, and you want to get on the table, don't want to do dirty and tiring work, want to wash away the earthy smell on your body. Is the earthwood department lacking people like you? What the director wants is a useful tool, not precious porcelain. If everyone is so good at fishing and so unwilling to work hard, how can the department make money? He chuckled in his heart, following Gongshu, Jin, to practice every day. You think you are also one of the people above. But you don't know that university may be the closest you will ever be in your life. Yingzhen on the other side was still unconvinced and said, I can also endure hardship, I can also work hard. And my strength is stronger than Zhang Yu. Shouldn't the university look at strength and ranking? I want to have a showdown with Zhang Yu. Li Shan smiled when he heard this and said, okay, then let's see who works harder and who can endure hardship more. The night breeze swept through the 666th floor of Wanfa University City, causing several colorful flags to flutter in the wind. Yingzhen and Zhang Yu stood, facing each other in the moonlight, under the watchful eyes of many workers. As their gazes met, it seemed as if two streams of martial intent were clashing in the air, emitting a heavy pressure. Yu Xingyan stood in a corner not far away, looking at Yingzhen, a woman with a robust figure, and muscles like granite, and couldn't help but feel a sense of admiration. He thought to himself, that waist, that chest, those arms, and those legs, clearly a body forged through countless trials. I'm afraid one could pour hundreds of tons of cement into her in one night. As expected of a sixth-generation civil engineer, a prodigy who grew up on construction sites. Big means strong, big means being able to do more work, which means earning more money. And earning more money naturally leads to more charm. Yu Xingyan deeply understood this, and at this moment, he felt a certain charm emanating from Yingzhen. So, in the next moment, he quietly turned on the recording function of his eye socket, and began filming the scene in front of him, the camera occasionally sweeping back and forth between Yingzhen and Zhang Yu. At the same time, Yingzhen's sharp gaze swept over Zhang Yu in front of her, and she thought to herself, why does this guy's energy seem more abundant than it was half a month ago? It seems he knew he was going to fight me, so he took tonifying and restorative medicine in advance to replenish his energy. But the thought only flashed through her mind and didn't bother Yingzhen. After all, her ranking was already above Zhang Yu's half a month ago. And in the past half month, she had continued to work hard every day, and dared not even think about saving money. Whether in effort or spending money, she dared not relax in the slightest. On the other hand, Zhang Yu not only took half a month off from class, but also spent a lot of time working every day, constantly wearing down his body. Yingzhen looked at Zhang Yu, and thought to herself, the gap between you and me now is probably even bigger than it was half a month ago. On the other side, Li Zhao looked at Yingzhen, then at Zhang Yu. He felt that one was a classmate who often studied and cultivated with him, and the other was a fellow villager who had helped him. Especially Zhang Yu, who had helped him several times on the construction site before, throwing him out of the danger zone to the entrance. If it weren't for him, he probably wouldn't have made it. Thinking of this, he also felt a pang of regret for Zhang Yu. Li Zhao sighed in his heart, Zhang Yu is really, if he were like me, and interacted more with Yingzhen and the others, he would definitely have more room for maneuver now, and wouldn't be in this state. After Zhang Yu loses, I'll pull him over to reintroduce him to Yingzhen, and ease the relationship. Having cultivated with Yingzhen and the others for so long, she should still give me this face, right? Just then, Li Shan, whose entire body was shining with the golden light of his Dharma bones, walked over and said to the 2-inches, are you two ready? Yingzhen looked at Li Shan and said respectfully, Teacher 2, I'm ready to start at any time. I just don't know how we're going to compete. Zhang Yu also looked at Li Shan curiously. After all, this was a competition between civil engineering prodigies with a high technical threshold, and it couldn't be like a fight between gang members. Li Shan smiled faintly and pointed to the piles of construction waste not far away, saying, since Zhang Yu was previously selected as a model worker for cleaning up garbage, then today you will use the transportation of construction waste as the competition project. The time limit will be 5 hours, and we'll see who can transport more construction waste. Hearing this, Zhang Yu's eyes narrowed, and he thought to himself, this guy, wouldn't he be trying to use the name of the competition to make us work for him for free, right? Li Shan continued, you must not underestimate the task of transporting construction waste. He said with a solemn expression, as your teacher, I can tell you that there is a great Tao in transportation. From the moment you stepped into the immortal path, the first thing you did was transport spiritual energy. And as you constantly climb on the immortal path, all you do is move spiritual energy from one place to another, and move mana from one place to another. Even transporting blood, transporting water, transporting heat, and then transporting electric charge, transporting spirit coins. As the realm of the immortal path improves, you will be able to transport more and more things, and you will be able to transport things to farther and farther places. It can be said that the essence of the immortal path is transportation. On the other side, Li Zhao's eyes lit up as he listened, feeling a sense of enlightenment, and he thought, yes, from stepping into the immortal path to today's cultivation in university, everything I do every day is transporting spiritual energy, transporting mana, transporting blood, transporting building materials. The immortal path is transportation. Yu Xingyan's eyes also moved slightly when he heard this. That makes sense. The stronger an immortal is, the more things they can transport. From transporting the mana and blood in their own bodies, to transporting the wind, rain, thunder, and lightning of the outside world. Not only that, transcending the immortal path itself, transporting information from one place to another, transporting spirit coins from one place to another, and even transporting people from one place to another, that is the great Tao. Thinking of this, Yu Xingyan vaguely had some understanding in his heart, and aimed the camera of his Dharma bones at Lingxin. I can't transport spirit, coins, and people yet. But I wonder what the effect would be if I transported information. Listening to Talishan's words, Fuji couldn't help but sigh. Your teacher is very talented. He elucidates the mysteries of the immortal path in just a few words. It's a pity he didn't become an evil god. Talishan continued, returning to this competition project, as foundation establishment students in the civil engineering department, your transportation will naturally be more technically advanced. If you want to defeat your opponent, if you want to transport more and faster, you must pay attention to the flow of gang energy, and apply gang energy fluid mechanics well. There's also the problem of heat dissipation during long periods of exercise, the friction between physical strength and magic power, the aerodynamics of high-speed movement, and the need to use the science of strength to control the transported objects, so they don't fall or tip over. It can be said that the whole thing seems simple, but the details are all manifestations of immortal techniques. The ultimate winner will inevitably be the one who is more skilled in the application of immortal, earth, and wood techniques. At the same time, a map projection appeared in front of everyone, showing the 21-kilometer route from the construction waste dump on the 666th floor of Wanfa University City to the waste treatment plant on the first basement level. Talishan said, your goal is to transport the construction waste from here to the waste treatment plant within 5 hours. I have already contacted the treatment plant, and they will separately calculate the weight of your two transports. After the competition, whoever transports more weight will be the winner. And the winner will have the opportunity to participate in the Wilderness Project internship next month. After speaking, Talishan looked at the two and asked, do you two have any questions? Yingxin said indifferently, I have no questions. Zhang Yu raised his hand and said, teacher, is there a salary for this competition? Talishan said faintly, you can choose not to compete. Jiang Yu cursed in his heart, damn it, this guy must have made a fortune in transportation fees. The newest novels are first published on 69shu.com. Then Zhang Yu looked at Yingxin again and asked, classmate, how about we make an agreement? The loser of this battle will pay the winner double the salary. Just calculated according to the normal waste disposal fee. In Lingxin's view, this was simply the other party voluntarily giving her money, so naturally she agreed without hesitation. Talishan said, since both sides have no problems, the competition will officially begin in 3 minutes. There was a loud bang, and a burst of ringing erupted from Lingxin's body, accompanied by a series of magic power and muscle vibrations. The whole person had already begun to warm up. Zhang Yu twisted his body, and the vertebrae in his back collided one by one, making a sound like boulders hitting each other. And with the warm-up movements of the two, their muscles gradually swelled, and their entire body shape seemed to be inflated, gradually breaking through the height of 3 meters, becoming to small giants. Obviously, in order to prepare for the upcoming competition, both of them chose to stretch their muscles and bones in order to exert their strength more smoothly. 3 minutes later, as the countdown in the spirit world projection reached 0, Yingxin and Zhang Yu moved at the same time. Yingxin slapped out a palm, and the raging astral energy roared out like a long dragon, sweeping up the sky full of construction waste and rushing towards the direction of the magnetic channel. Zhang Yu then brought up the sky full of clouds, like driving a cloud dragon, and wrapped a large amount of construction waste and rushed out. In Lingxin's eye sockets, all the advertising projections had been completely blocked by her, leaving only the guidance of the navigation route, as well as the obstacles and pedestrians marked in red. In the rumbling loud noise, she was like a giant god who drank the wind and clouds, carrying the sky full of construction waste, and running wildly all the way, becoming faster and faster. Every trace of astral energy's operation, every flight path of construction waste, and every obstacle on the road, every passerby's action prediction, were all displayed in her eye socket vision. Yingxin was not sure whether the long speech to Li Shen had just said was to let them transport garbage for free. But she understood that what the other party said was right. Transportation contains a lot of immortal techniques. Yingxin, who grew up on a construction site since childhood, had a deep understanding of this. Once the scale becomes larger and larger, the speed becomes faster and faster, the difficulty will skyrocket, and the technology required will also increase. And now, I am carrying 25 tons of materials, and the speed is close to 200 meters per second. Every action of mine, every muscle operation, every burst of astral energy, is the crystallization of immortal techniques that I have cultivated for a long time, and invested countless funds in. Boom. Along with the roar of the atmosphere, every trace of astral energy mastered by Yingxin exploded, according to the pre-deduced path of the eye socket, in a way that best fits the mechanics of martial arts, strength, and the fluid mechanics of astral energy. At the same time, the heat in the body was quickly discharged with the flow of sweat, and evaporated, in the astral energy. And when Yingxin first stepped on the magnetic channel, the magic power in the dantian suddenly lifted, and it had been converted in an instant, allowing the feet to firmly adhere to the channel. At the same time, her waist and abdomen twisted, feeling the tons of power transmitted in the muscles. The whole person seemed to be transformed into a high-strength rail, dragging the blazing astral energy, and the sky full of construction waste, into the magnetic channel. In the explosions of bang bang bang, accompanied by Yingxin's every step in the magnetic channel, her whole person was constantly accelerating in this magnetic channel. The construction waste surrounded by the astral energy was like a shooting star, chasing her all the way, rushing from the 666th floor to the first basement level. Whether it is the explosion of physical strength, the control of astral energy flow, the reduction of wind resistance, the change of magnetic magic power, the choice of movement trajectory. At this moment, Yingxin felt that everything she did was perfect. Zhang, take a good look at the gap between you and me. The next moment, before Yingxin could finish thinking, she saw a white dragon with clouds all over the sky, had already passed her body, and accelerated downwards. Looking at the forefront of the long dragon formed by the astral energy, that figure belonging to Zhang, feeling the terrifying heat wave coming from the other party's body, as well as the bulging veins on Zhang Yu's body, and the crimson skin. Yingxin's face changed slightly. Battle demon longevity, lost skill? Are you kidding me? You're playing desperately with me right from the start? Listening to Nova, Zhang Yu didn't feel like he was risking his life. After all, with the body activation brought about by the remnant Ox's sacrificial heart sutra, the battle demon's lifespan depletion art was still within his tolerance range. Moreover, he had picked up a longevity pill a few days ago and swallowed it, increasing his lifespan by a year. Even if he burned some of it, it wouldn't matter. Fuji often told him that keeping lifespan was pointless as it didn't accrue interest. It was better to burn it when there were benefits, and he could always earn it back in the future. At this moment, not only was Zhang Yu not losing lifespan, but with the violent eruption of his physical body and astral energy, the residual medicinal power within him was being stimulated. In recent days, he had consumed many semi-finished drugs in the pharmaceutical factory. Some of these drugs took effect immediately, while others transformed into streams of medicinal power, settling deep within his body to be slowly absorbed. But now, with the violent operation of his whole body's ki and blood and magic power, these medicinal powers were stirred up and accelerated absorption, causing Zhang Yu's physical strength to subtly break through another level. Physical strength 0.01 level. In Yingxin's eyes, Zhang Yu's speed had once again increased slightly, instantly putting several more body lengths between them. At this moment, Yingxin suddenly recalled what her father had said. Father Yingxin, don't think about fighting desperately with people from the first level. Yingxin remembered that she was very unconvinced at the time, saying that she was not afraid of death, and would not be afraid of fighting people from the first level, if she really had to. Father, are you as poor as those first level people? Do you have as many loans as they do? Do you have the same kind of pressure on you? Father, you don't. Your life is more valuable than theirs. It's not worth it for you to fight them desperately, so you can't muster the energy to fight them. Father, but if fighting desperately is really useful, what's the point of having money? Spend money when you need to. Thinking of this, Yingshin's eyes narrowed, and a volume of talisman scripture appeared in her palm. Winds from all directions, heed my command. Transport for me. In an instant, as Yingzin activated the talisman, divine light surged out, stirring up gusts of wind, to help her carry the construction, waste, and transport it downwards with her. But just as Yingzin surpassed Zhang Yu, she discovered that the other party's figure had expanded again, and his speed was constantly increasing. Still fighting. Yingzin sneered in her heart, then don't blame me for completely despairing you. While Zhang Yu and Yingzin were chasing each other, Lishan on the 666th floor was observing their competition through the surveillance cameras along the way. Although Yingzin is unwilling to risk her life, she is willing to spend money, which is also good. As long as you are willing to pay your own money to work and pay your own money to do projects, who can say that you are not a civil engineering genius? But soon, seeing Zhang Yu accelerate again, Lishan's eyes showed even more appreciation. Good, one is sacrificing his life, and the other is spending money. They are both civil engineering geniuses, both civil engineering talents. With a bang, Zhang Yu crashed to the ground. As he reached the first basement level, his muscles cushioned the impact, and he launched the sky-filled construction materials towards the garbage disposal plant. At this moment, he had already activated the burst state of the boundless spring, and autumn zen, and the efficiency of the battle demon's lifespan depletion art had also begun to slightly consume his lifespan. Fortunately, I ate a longevity pill. Keeping this 1 year of lifespan won't accrue any interest. It's okay to monetize it a little. On the other side, Yingzin brought up a whirlwind, and was side by side with Zhang Yu. The two of them, rushing forward all the way, were like two giant dragons running side by side, except that one was shrouded in clouds and mist, and the other was radiating golden light, constantly accelerating with the roar of the atmosphere. Accelerate. Accelerate again. After the first wave of construction materials was transported, the two of them shot out again without stopping, bringing long trails of air waves, and rushed to the 666th floor again. Without the burden of the construction materials, Zhang Yu's speed increased even more, pulling out long trails of air waves in the air, getting farther and farther away from Yingzin. Watching this scene, Yingzin cursed in her heart, 5 hours, I'll see how much lifespan you dare to risk. Back and forth, transporting up and down again and again, Yingzin watched Zhang Yu sprint and erupt again, and again without stopping, without any intention of stopping at all. Yingzin herself watched the consumption of spirit coins on the talisman, scripture continue to rise, and finally had to grit her teeth and suspend the talisman. As a result, Yingzin was thrown further and further away by Zhang Yu. When the 5-hour race was about to end. Under the full pursuit of these 5 hours, Yingshin's whole body was constantly emitting rolling heat waves, her whole body's skin was flesh red, and the muscles of her whole body seemed to be melting. Every step she took, she felt her muscles weaken, and every time she breathed, she felt a stabbing pain in her chest. At this moment, she was like a cannon barrel that had been continuously overloaded, and the metal fatigue had reached its limit. When she looked up, she saw Zhang Yu, his whole body red, and constantly emitting bursts of white air, roaring and continuing to rush towards the garbage disposal plant. Yingzin couldn't help but reveal a hint of surprise in her heart. This guy. Does he still have energy to spare after fighting to this point? How much lifespan has he consumed? No, impossible. This is not just the strength of risking lifespan. A trace of disbelief appeared in Yingshin's eyes. Could it be that this guy's strength is already above mine? Thinking of this, she clenched her fists a little unwillingly. How could this be? He clearly grinds himself on the construction site every day, and the money he spends is definitely not as much as mine. At the same time, Lishan had slowly walked to Yingshin's side and comforted her. Didn't understand why you lost? That Zhang Yu, I could tell when he was working on the construction site on the 666th floor, every day, that he was also cultivating various body refining techniques. While his body was being worn down by work, he was also putting himself through even more intense training. It can be said that every bit of his strength, every bit of his cultivation, was earned with his life. Yingzin, do you now feel the difference between the physical body you painstakingly cultivated in the training room and the physical body Xiong you forged on the construction site? For you, this is just academics, just an opportunity. But for him, it's work, it's life, it's the hope for the future. Looking at Ling Xin, who was standing beside him with her head lowered, Li Shan thought to himself, if you had enough money to spend more money than he spends his life, then you might be able to suppress him, just like Dong Shujin and Ji Yuanhui. Unfortunately, you still don't have enough money. Just then, Li Zhao and Yu Xing'an also arrived. Ying Xin frowned slightly. She always felt that Yu Xing'an was staring at her for a bit too long. Yu Xing'an thought to himself, this video. When I get back, I'll edit it a bit, blur it out, and upload it to see how it does. I wonder if a video of the civil engineering department's bell will get any views. I can't just film my daily life on the civil engineering construction site, who would watch that? Li Zhao, on the other hand, thought that Ying Xin had already won the competition. After all, in his opinion, Ying Xin's strength was definitely above Zhang Yu's. He comforted her, Ying Xin. We're all classmates, don't hurt the harmony. Give me some face, you guys can talk it over later. Ying Xin glared at him coldly, what face do you have? Watching Ying Xin leave without looking back, a look of embarrassment appeared on Li Zhao's face. The latest and most complete novels are first published on 6ix9ine Book Bar. Just then, the class rankings finally updated. When Ying Xin saw that Zhang Yu's class rank above his head had changed from 4th to 3rd, and her own class rank above her head had changed from 3rd to 4th, a trace of understanding appeared on her face. As expected, Ying Xin smiled bitterly and muttered to herself, he's already above me, I was the weaker one in this battle. Li Zhao also noticed the change in the rankings above Zhang Yu and Ying Xin's heads and thought of Ying Xin's performance just now. Li Zhao looked at Zhang Yu, who was walking towards him, and asked in surprise, You actually defeated Ying Xin? Zhang Yu exhaled a mouthful of hot air, I guess so. He looked at Ying Xin's limping figure as she left and reminded her, don't forget to transfer the money. Li Shan looked at Zhang Yu and smiled, Zhang Yu, you're very good. But you still need to rest well when you should. After the field project starts next month, you'll be busy. After Li Shan left, Li Zhao couldn't help but ask, How exactly do you cultivate? Zhang Yu glanced at him and said casually, you can't learn my method. If you want to learn, you can learn from Yu Xing'an. After saying that, Zhang Yu turned and left. After a few flashes, he soared into the sky like an arrow, rushing towards the 666th floor, along the Yuan magnetic channel. Li Zhao hurriedly sent a message asking, where are you going? Zhang Yu going back to work overtime. Li Zhao was shocked, you still have to work overtime like this? Yu Xing'an curled his lips and said, this guy is like this, he never stops. I've never seen him rest. I suspect that he works overtime on his own, not because he wants to compete with others, but just to reward himself after winning the competition. Li Zhao was at a loss at this moment. Isn't working overtime a painful thing? Could it be that this kind of pain, that he needs to grit his teeth and endure silently, is a kind of happiness for Zhang Yu? Is the gap between people so big? Then he really can't learn the other party's cultivation method. Li Zhao thought of Yu Xing'an, who Zhang Yu had mentioned, and asked, what are you planning to do next? Yu Xing'an walked towards the Yuan magnetic channel and said casually, when he heard this, massage. Wanfa University City, 666th floor. Not long after Zhang Yu started working, he received a transfer of 121 spirit coins from Ying Xin, bringing his balance to 12,500. Looking at the number in his balance, Zhang Yu smiled with satisfaction. Not bad, not bad. Next, I can spend more money to continue improving my grades. I can add a few more Daoshu services. Zhang Yu was calculating how to spend the spirit coins in his account next. Just then, Zhang Yu received another message from Li Shan. Li Shan, Zhang Yu, Director Gao is very satisfied with your performance today. Li Shan, he knows you're short on money, so he specially arranged for you to meet with a teacher from the finance department tomorrow to apply for a low-interest student loan. Zhang Yu, thank you, teacher too. Please also thank Director Gao for me. Li Shan, it's only right for teachers to help students. If you want to repay Director Gao, then perform well in the field project next month. Now is a good era for our civil engineering students to shine. As long as you're willing to work hard, there will be plenty of opportunities. Zhang Yu asked, what exactly is this field project about? Li Shan didn't answer him, but instead asked another question, how much do you know about the university war? Zhang Yu, how much do you know about the university wars? Zhang Pian, although each university has its own strengths and areas of focus, like the 10 greats, their main businesses also differ, but some overlap is inevitable. Jiang Pian, and when the competition between universities becomes fierce, to a certain extent, it will evolve into armed conflict. Zhang Pian, however, with the mediation of the 10 greats, there are basically no full-scale wars, mostly just local conflicts. Zhang Pian and top universities like Wanfa University, one of the 10 greats, won't personally get involved. They usually rely on negotiations and consultations to solve problems or compete in the 10 greats league. Listening to Zhang Pian's explanation, Zhang Yu gradually gained his own understanding of the university wars. And when he told Li Shan about his understanding, the other party replied, "Not bad. It seems you usually pay attention to this kind of information." To Li Shan, although our Wanfa University does not directly participate in the war, we will provide support when some brother universities encounter armed conflicts. To Li Shan, this field project is to build a Dharma body production line for a brother university. It is a major project led by the Department of Weaponry, jointly with our Department of Civil Engineering and Department of Architecture, and will probably take 2 or 3 months. To Li Shan, with the frequent occurrence of university wars in recent years, there will be many such projects in the future. It is the era for our Department of Civil Engineering to shine. Work hard for a few years, and there will be no problem staying here in the future. Looking at the message from Li Shan, Fuji chuckled and said, "It's just using other universities as thugs, and by the way, selling magical treasures, production lines, and various supplies." Hearing this, Zhang Yu also nodded slightly. It seems that the Department of Civil Engineering can really earn a lot. Zhang Yu thought of another question. "Teacher, what about classes?" To Li Shan, "Don't worry, the construction site will set up a spirit realm network, and you can take online classes then." On the other side, after finishing the chat with Zhang Yu, Tu Li Shan opened Zhang Yu and Gongshu Jin's information in the iPhone again. Zhang Yu is a very useful expendable talent. Tu Li Shan had already confirmed this when he saw him at the Foundation Establishment exam on the first floor. Tu Li Shan thought to himself, according to the current arrangements in the department, the cultivation of talents like Zhang Yu in each grade tends to be short-term investment, squeezing potential as much as possible, and striving to obtain benefits in the next few years. After all, according to the current situation, the university wars are likely to expand, and it is necessary to have a group of talents who are not too high in realm, but dare to work hard to implement projects. In Tu Li Shan's view, the more such talents, the better. In comparison, Gongshu Jin is a long-term investment with higher cultivation value. Tu Li Shan knew that Director Gao had decided to treat Gongshu Jin as a long-term cultivation target. It is estimated that Gongshu Jin is the new generation successor of the Heavenly Kunlun, moving mountain divine power. After all, Jiuanshu is going to transfer to the Department of Finance. The current situation does require early preparation to cultivate students who have mastered military grade power. After the current batch of senior students graduate, Gongshu Jin will be the face of the Department of Civil Engineering for the next few years, and will have the opportunity to participate in the 10 Greats League in the future. After flipping through Zhang Yu and Gongshu Jin's information, Tu Li Shan continued to look at the candidates for the project from other grades. Looking at the rows of names, it was obvious that the students selected from other grades were much more numerous than the mere 2 students from the freshman year. On the construction site on the 666th floor, just as the sky was getting light, Zhang Yu finished his overtime work today and returned to the dormitory area on the 125th floor. And the moment he entered the door, Zhang Yu sensed a gust of evil wind coming towards him, and a fist was already pressing towards him, with a wave of air. Zhang Yu smiled slightly, casually caught the fist, and had already started practicing with Yu Xing'an, who had attacked on the street. Although he has been very busy in the past few months, Zhang Yu still tries to take time to practice with Yu Xing'an, cooperate with each other to refine the body, and, according to the teachings of the wolf friend skill, cooperate with Yu Xing'an to stimulate the fusion of spiritual roots. And with Zhang Yu's help, Yu Xing'an's spiritual root fusion has been improved a lot. Especially in recent days, Zhang Yu has taken a lot of medicine, and some semi-finished drugs have the effect of improving the fusion of spiritual roots. So after Yu Xing'an took Zhang Yu's blood, he also felt that the fusion of spiritual roots had improved a lot, and gradually reached a barrier. And after the massage yesterday, Yu Xingyan felt that his spiritual routes were becoming more and more stimulated, and it seemed that it was time to break through. Yes, the reason why Yu Xingyan has to go for a massage after get off work every time is not only because the massage room can help him relieve the wear and tear on his body, but also because he found that the technicians can also provide services to promote the fusion of spiritual roots. So after a period of brewing last night, he vaguely sensed something in his heart and sat cross-legged in the dormitory for a long time. Until Zhang Yu returned, he jumped up and felt a burst of rhythm all over his body, as if something had penetrated his whole body. Immediately afterwards, Yu Xingyan and Zhang Yu collided with fists and feet. Every impact of power and every shock of gang qi made the feeling in his heart more and more obvious. Finally, Yu Xingyan let out a long roar and felt a twist in the third eye in his mind, which had grown to the position of the eyebrow. This third eye is the spiritual route he has had since he was a child, and it is also the spiritual route he uses to build the foundation. At the same time, a subtle scar appeared on the surface of Yu Xingyan's eyebrow, which looked like a closed eye from a distance. At this moment, Yu Xingyan finally raised the fusion of spiritual roots to 90% with Zhang Yu's help. With the enhancement of this third eye, Yu Xingyan has always been able to not only see a 360-degree view around him, but also better control the muscles throughout his body and quickly learn the movements of others. And when the spirit root fusion reached 90%, Yu Xingyan could feel that this spirit root seemed capable of even more. He smiled slightly, looking at Zhang Yu with confidence, and said, "Let's continue, but be careful, the current me might be frighteningly strong." In the next moment, the two figures collided again. And with every punch and palm strike Zhang Yu unleashed, Yu Xingyan could flawlessly replicate them, colliding with Zhang Yu in a fist-for-fist, palm-for-palm exchange, as if facing another version of himself in a mirror. At this moment, Yu Xingyan discovered that he could almost perfectly copy Zhang Yu's every move. In the following attempts, Yu Xingyan further discovered that he could discern the strength of Zhang Yu's surrounding mana and astral energy, and perceive the weaknesses and strengths within the opponent's moves. In addition to this, the surrounding flow of spiritual energy was also clearly visible to him, allowing him to sense the cultivators on the street, who were absorbing spiritual energy. He could also sense the spiritual energy surging within the surrounding buildings, flowing through the spiritual energy circuits in all directions. Haha, Yu Xingyan smiled inwardly. With this ability to copy moves and see through weaknesses, I will be invincible in skill-based battles against opponents of the same level. But what's the use of being able to fight? In the next moment, Yu Xingyan thought again. Copying other people's movements and techniques should be used for learning and cultivation. After experimenting and understanding the progress of his spirit root, Yu Xingyan stopped and called Zhang Yu to go to class together. In Zhang Yu's eyes, he had personally witnessed the change in the Dao seed on the other person's body, from the original 3-eyed divine power to 3-eyed divine power level 1. Walking on the way to the classroom, Zhang Yu's gaze swept over the feather book that appeared beside him. As the feather book flipped past the prologue and the first chapter, and arrived at the Dao seed spectrum, in the second chapter, he saw the 3-eyed divine power level 1 appearing on the originally blank Dao seed spectrum. And as Zhang Yu activated this Dao seed, he could feel that there seemed to be an extra eye vaguely between his eyebrows. With the blessing of this 3-eyed divine power, he immediately possessed 360-degree vision, able to see the scenes in front, behind, left, right, and all directions. Zhang Yu thought to himself, no wonder this kid Yu Xingyan was so good at dodging before, it turns out he can really see what's behind him. Immediately afterwards, when Zhang Yu turned his vision to the other people around him, he felt that everyone's movements became unprecedentedly clear. He could even feel that as long as he had a thought, he could copy the movements of anyone he saw. Recalling Yu Xingyan's imitation of him just now, Zhang Yu thought to himself, so that's how it is. He can actually copy other people's movements. Then if I combine it with the feather book skill specialization, wouldn't that mean I can learn any external skill with just one glance? Unfortunately, I can't see the flow of mana within others. But I can distinguish the strength of mana, and I can judge the weaknesses and strengths of the opponent's moves. I can also see the flow of spiritual energy. Feeling the various abilities brought by the 3-eyed divine power, Zhang Yu smiled inwardly. Not bad talent, now it's mine. But this 3-eyed divine power is only level 1 now, does that mean it can continue to upgrade? Zhang Yu looked at Yu Xingyan beside him, trying to sense the Dao seed on the other person's body. Just as Xiong beside him was feeling a little strange from being stared at, wondering if Zhang Yu was filming him with the lower remains, Zhang Yu thought to himself, I can feel it. If the three-eyed divine power wants to continue to improve, Xiong needs to increase the spirit root fusion to 100% and push the mana to over 500. Zhang Yu was already looking forward to what abilities the three-eyed divine power would have after level 2. In addition to the three-eyed divine power, he also thought of Lemulin, who was preparing for the Foundation establishment exam these days. I hope Lemulin can successfully establish her foundation. Zhang Yu was also looking forward to what abilities the other party's deep cold, law, vein, would have. This day after school, Zhang Yu followed Talishan to the teaching level of the finance department. Walking in the corridor of the finance department's teaching building, Zhang Yu's first feeling was that it was tall. The height of the entire finance department's teaching level was an unprecedented 100 meters, and each floor of the teaching building also had a height of at least 8 meters. For Zhang Yu, who was already accustomed to constricting his body and adapting to various low spaces in the Myriad Laws University City, it was a bit unaccustomed to be so big. And the second feeling the finance department gave him was quiet, because all advertisements were blocked in the entire building, so Zhang Yu could no longer see any messy, spirit realm projections. Then, feeling the warm spiritual energy constantly coming from under his feet, he was even more surprised in his heart. The ground here is made of spirit stones. Although spirit stones have been eliminated as currency, Zhang Yu still felt like he was seeing someone using money as a carpet when he saw the finance department using spirit stones as floor tiles. At this moment, Zhang Yu had the urge to squat down and pick up the spirit stones. Talishan said to him from the side, the finance department teacher I'm bringing you to see this time is called Zhu Lingzi. He has also seen your performance in the Foundation establishment exam before, and this time he will help you apply for a low-interest loan. While speaking, the Cha had already entered an office.